back. My next guest is a Pulitzer Prize-winning television columnist and critic for the Washington Post, and he's the co-author of Live from New York, An Uncensored History of Saturday Night Live. Please welcome Tom Shales. All right, let's let the fun begin here. First of all, you're a fantastic writer. You're very descriptive.
This is fun. Thank you.
You're a descriptive writer. Your reviews are very descriptive. Wonderful language. I want to quote a review that you did. I think this is September of 1993, of a young late-night host who had just arrived on the scene. Scrappy young lad.
I was young, too, then.
Yes, we were all young then. A young man who took over the show from David Letterman. He had big dreams of doing great things. And then he read this about himself. You said the host had dark, beady little eyes like a rabbit. You said he's one of the whitest white men ever. And you can see by the audience response that everyone 10 years later is still agreeing with you on that one. Dark, beady little eyes like a rabbit.
Didn't I say a great white Irish shark coming at me or something like that?
Yes, you said a white Irish shark coming at you in the night, yes. Well, I've had eye surgery since then to try and enlarge these things a little bit. There's nothing I can do about it.
You know, I played with the tuning on the TV and the whole thing changed.
Good. Because
we became a smash and the rest is history.
Yeah.
No, well, you were very nice about those early reviews, Conan, I must say.
Well, I didn't really have any choice. What am I going to do? Try and find where you live?
You could have killed me.
No, I don't have any power in the industry. There was nothing I could have done. I'm physically very weak. There was nothing I could do at the time.
I think maybe having something like that to overcome, not that it's that big a deal to overcome one of my lousy reviews.
Yeah.
Maybe it helped you reach the greatness that you've attained.
I'm still on at 12:30. 10 years later. What the hell happened? Now, I am in good company. I was in very good company with other, because Kathy Lee, you always had a problem with Kathy Lee's Christmas special. And people they always loved reading your reviews of her Christmas specials. Why?
I don't know. I couldn't have been nicer to the woman. I thought she was...
That is not true. It's brought something... It brought out... You have to admit, it brought out a kind of...
well, they did get the baby Jesus out of there quickly, so Kathy Lee could take center stage with the lights and the thing. And I said one year she should have been singing, "Oh, come let us adore me."
Right.
Because that's what it was really all about.
Right.
And Johnny Carson once called me up and told me he enjoyed those reviews. Everybody enjoyed the reviews. Nobody enjoyed the shows. She stopped doing the shows just to get even with me, and now I can't write about it anymore. My career is pretty well gone in the toilet, and that's the end of the story.
My eyes are still beady. You can always come after me again. Some people, some shows that you go after try and get back at you by writing you into the show as a character or as a reference. The OC recently did that.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't see it, but my friends told me about it. They were in a hospital, and somebody made a reference to a patient named Tom Shales downstairs. He loved Madame Bovary, which I don't have anything against her.
Right.
Or it. And but he had a bad case of incontinence. He was, in other words, couldn't stop peeing.
Right.
And this was their little joke, which was, funny, I guess. But it's sort of like another joke. The worst one was a show called The District, which is somehow still on, I think. On Saturday nights on CBS.
Who's in this show? Is this...
Craig T. Nelson.
Craig T. Nelson.
Don't forget the T. I think he gets very
very angry. He paid a lot of money for that tea.
He did. And the scene at the end of the show, he has a puppy, a new puppy. They're trying to make him more lovable. He spreads a newspaper down on the seat of the car, and he says to the puppy, "Well, you can piddle on that. It's just a Tom Shales review."
Mm-hmm. And when you hear about these things, does it hurt your feelings at all, or does it delight you in some way that I got to Craig T. Nelson? I brought Craig T. Nelson down a notch.
Yeah, I think all the other TV critics are going to be jealous, and they probably are.
Right.
Because being trashed by a TV show that you trashed, I guess, is some sort of an honor.
It sounds all very sick to me. Now, let's talk about the book, Live from New York. This is a book about the entire history, an oral history of the entire Saturday Night Live show, starting in, I guess, 1975 to the present. I was interviewed for this book because I wrote for Saturday Night Live, and I don't know if this is what other people who were interviewed for it did. When this book came out, I grabbed it off the shelf, I immediately flipped to the back, looked up Conan O'Brien, and looked for what I had said. That's how. Is that what everyone else is doing too?
Yeah, I think it's the most snippet-read book in history. I mean, everybody's reading, at least people in the business or people in the book, are all reading little parts.
Who got the angriest of anybody who read this book? Who got the angriest?
That would be Chevy Chase, I think. Poor Chevy, he became a sort of a theme throughout the book. We didn't intend this to happen, but in every generation, there was someone who just hated Chevy.
Right.
He was only on the show one season. People forget that. And then he became a big star, and everyone said he'd be the new Johnny Carson and all that. But every new generation, he'd come back to guest host. And then we'd ask somebody from that cast, well, who was the guest host you hated most? And they all, not they all, but a lot of them said, Chevy Chase, just boom, including Will Ferrell, which wasn't that long ago. It seems like Chevy has a way of insulting people just viciously, thinking it's hilarious, and they're lying dead on the floor, you know, and bleeding.
Right.
And feeling terribly hurt, you know. I was with him once when somebody brought in some tea for him, spilled it on the floor, and he started abusing this kid, something awful. It was, you know, a few flights up from where we are now.
That kid's name was Conan O'Brien.
He was a beady-eyed little bugger.
That's not right! I'm having them enlarged. Beady-eyed. All right, before we go, quick review of tonight's show.
I think it's great that the way they taper it off from scales at heights of hilarity to a tired old television critic. It's a nice bit of pacing, I think. No, it was a great show.
You're putting down us having you on the show now. You can't win with this guy. That's what I'm going to read later on. Live from New York, an uncensored history of Saturday Night Live is now out in paperback. Tom Shales, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Conan.
Good to have you. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, that's our show. Do you want to thank all my guests? Stay tuned for Last Call with Carson Daly. Goodbye, everybody.